Hello again, and welcome to episode 156 of SDGC for Thursday, August 1st, 2 days away from my birthday. If you're not aware, Super Deformed Gamescast meets right here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the latest gaming headlines with a wide variety of panel members and guests. We also do a whole bunch of other stuff as time allows, like a separate show about movies and television, community game streaming, a mental health support show, and a bi-weekly morning show every other Friday. If you've been along for the ride so far, welcome home. And if not, hey, feel free to stick around and maybe throw us a sub. Every single podcast is archived the next day on our YouTube channel for those who like to watch, and you can find us on all major podcast services for those who like to listen. And with that being said, how is everybody?
I'm pretty good, man.
Yeah,
I'm
you
doing
doing
good.
all right? Yeah, everybody doing okay? Lina, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
Lina, I think this is actually this is either your first time on the podcast itself.
No, definitely not the first.
Well, I think it's the first time that she's been on with me.
Yeah, last time it was just...
Yeah, I was on with her at least. I remember one time at least.
Yeah. Because I just want to make sure that we are... I don't know why it says the morning show. I changed the thing. I
It
swear.
can be whatever time you want it to be. Time is a construct.
Who knows? But anyway, I see the chat is filling up. That's good. Lina, you doing okay tonight?
I am.
Anybody in chat you want to give a shout out to?
I mean, you know, hi Colette.
You just got set up.
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. My apologies. So there's a lot to talk about this week. I didn't think that... I thought that we might have to rely heavily tonight on random topics, like topics we just make up, but some pretty interesting stuff happened today, as it was. And so we actually do have a few things to talk about tonight. From Call of Duty to Ninja being the first, I guess, I don't know how to put it, exclusive streamer. Like, we don't do exclusive games anymore. Now we do exclusive streamers.
It was weird. It was like we were talking this morning, we don't really have much to talk about. And then at 1 o'clock today, a bunch of stories came out worth talking about.
Everything happened. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about some Call of Duty stuff, not just gameplay related stuff, but I also kind of want to talk a little bit about the white phosphorus stuff. Because it's something that's
good old Willie P, everyone's favorite kill streak.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I know, right? And we're also going to talk about Wolfenstein Youngblood a little later. I know that Justin and Lina have some things they want to say about that. And we're going to answer some questions. We're going to answer we got some really interesting questions on Twitter that we're going to answer live here for everybody. But first, what we're going to do is talk about PlayStation 4 and Switch sales. And let me pull up I've got at least I had here we go. And of course, I want to give credit where credit's due, so I am quoting this from thenextweb.com. I've never heard of them, but okay, they seem all right. And I guess Sam in chat also pointed out that last minute, but tariffs are officially being increased, which means Sony is going to have an interesting time. That's true, and we can factor that into our discussion here as well. So, thenextweb.com says, Nintendo and Sony this week posted sales figures for the Switch and PlayStation 4, respectively, and the two consoles are cleaning house. If you're looking for a reason why these two consoles have rocketed to the top so quickly, you can probably put it down to both consoles' sterling lineup of exclusives. Excuse me, the beer's coming back. Sony's PS4 hit the milestone of 100 million consoles sold in the last 6 years. It's hit that milestone faster than any other console except the Nintendo DS. One of the things it's boasted over its rivals is a list of exclusives from launch. Bloodborne, Uncharted 4, Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, the list goes on. And of course, our friend Daniel Ahmad, Z-Huge, he also said on Twitter that the PlayStation 4
the real reason he's not on our show anymore is because we called him Z-Huge.
That's right, yeah. Yeah. For those who don't know, used to know, like it used to be Daniel who would be our monthly NPD guy, but after he started his new job, he wasn't able to do that anymore. But Daniel, we love you, man. And
obligations.
And Brandon, here's the interesting thing: like if you hear anybody, we were his first ever podcast appearance on SDGC. So if you hear people refer to him as Z Huge, that started here. That's That's
my
wild.
inability to pronounce Zhuge.
Yeah, I can't pronounce Zhuge either. And at this point, dude, I don't care to. It's just Z huge. But Daniel said that the trajectory of the PS4 is faster than both the PS2 and the Wii, which is fucking wild. That's really, really interesting. And of course, the Switch this year is probably going to pass, I think, the Xbox One in total sales worldwide, which is
seems about right.
Yeah. Fucking insane, man. Like,
sure. Yeah. Gaming is a growing industry.
Wild. I remember back in 2012 when I was reading articles on CNN telling me that consoles were dying and mobile was the future and iPads were the future. And remember these? Yeah.
Stadia, dude. That's where it's at right now.
Oh, poor fucking Stadia, man. I feel so bad. Like it's
On Live 2.0, bring it on.
I don't have good feelings about Stadia, man. I really don't. But Justin, what do these PS4 numbers say to you, man?
I mean, it's really impressive. I don't like even the most optimistic predictions at the beginning of this generation. I don't think had any console hitting the 100 million milestone. Like, it's the fastest home console to hit the milestone. Like, faster than PS2, faster than Wii. Like, I don't think even the most optimistic predictions saw that happening, even if we saw them being successful. And Switch is, on a crazy trajectory right now, too. Plus, they've got 2 revisions coming out this fall. Multiple huge games. Like, Switch is doing crazy numbers, too. Like, both of them have been extraordinarily successful and really, really hit their fan bases the way they needed to and supported them throughout the generation. And it'll be exciting to see where they go in the future.
I don't think, and I'll kick this over to Lina next, but I personally, I don't see the PS4, despite its trajectory, I don't see it surpassing the PS2.
Sales. I mean, the PS2, part of the reason the PS2 continued selling so well was it was the only affordable DVD player in a lot of regions. Plus, with PS5 being backwards compatible, I feel like that'll cut off sales quite a bit faster than previous ones.
Well, I want to kick this next one over to Lina. Lina, of course, if you don't mind. I'm actually unfamiliar with as far as ecosystem go, or as far as the ecosystem goes, which consoles do you actually own?
Current or my older stuff too?
Current. Let's just do current.
Okay. I have a Switch, a PS4, a gaming PC, and a 3DS.
Which one of those do you play the most?
Probably my Switch at this point.
Your Switch. Yeah, me too, I think. So do you have any opinions as to what is fueling the Switch's trajectory? Like, of course, obviously, they've had a great stable of first-party games this generation, but I also feel like, and right now, the Switch is my favorite console this generation by far, but we can't overlook the fact that Nintendo has made some pretty glaring omissions and mistakes with the Switch this generation as well, especially in regards to the online service. So what do you think it is let's frame it a different way. Do you think if the first party stable was not quite as strong as it is now, do you feel like the console or do you feel like the docking to handheld gimmick, do you feel like that would be enough to keep the Switch where it's at?
Personally, I don't think so. It's software that sells hardware, and Nintendo says it all the time, and that's the truth. If they didn't have such a strong lineup of first-party titles, I don't think we'd see it doing as well as it does. I know that the ability to take it portable is important because I know a majority of players use it that way. So I know that would do something for it, but I think that's something that the Wii U lacked, was a really strong showing of first-party titles that everybody played. Which
is weird because the Wii U still had some great first-party games, but
it didn't have Mario or Zelda until the very end of the generation.
Yeah, that's true.
And, Zelda Breath of the Wild was technically the swan song for the Wii U.
It was.
Nobody played it on the Wii U; they played it on the Switch. So it's like it just didn't exist. And those games weren't there.
I want to address something that Derek said in chat. He said Metroid Prime Trilogy not being announced isn't a glaring omission, John. Yes, it fucking is, Derek. Yes, it is.
I mean, yeah, like Metroid Prime Trilogy should be on.
It should be on the Switch. That is a glaring fucking omission.
Absolutely,
I agree.
Like that's and the bitch of it is, and I'll say it again, the game is fucking done. It is ready to go on the Switch. They are just holding it back because Metroid Prime 4 got delayed, which irritates me to no fucking end because Metroid Prime is one of my favorite games of all time, and I just want to take it wherever I go. Nintendo, I just want to take it. But the other part of the conversation that is now, as of today, relevant when we're talking about sales and thinking about what's going to happen next year this fall are these tariffs. These stupid motherfucking dumb shit tariffs that our idiot of a POTUS, and yeah, I'll get a little political, that our dipshit POTUS has implemented. Everybody agrees that tariffs are fucking stupid because they are costing the American consumer.
No, dude, I love paying more money.
Fuck yeah, fucking love me some tariffs, man. And like, God, nothing gets me up in the morning like some motherfucking tariffs, dude.
Like having to spend more money than I did before. Yeah.
Like I'll say this much right now, dude. I woke up this morning and I poured myself a cup of coffee and I put a little crunchy peanut butter in my oatmeal. I had a banana and I was like, you know what? The only thing that would round this breakfast off perfectly is if I could pay more fucking money for my video game consoles this fall. And goddamn it, fucking POTUS delivered, man. He fucking delivered like a champ.
He heard you.
He really did, man. I feel like
the drones, man.
The fucking the drones he's got peering in my windows, man. But like, I don't know. I had asked on Twitter whether or not Sony would just eat the cost, and apparently the general, what Derek says. I thought John was going to say he put peanut butter in his coffee. I'm fucking trying that tomorrow.
I really thought that's what you were going to say.
Yeah,
that shit's going down tomorrow. I'm doing that shit tomorrow. But what's interesting about this is that it probably won't affect Nintendo, right? Because Nintendo has, for the past month, been moving their production facilities out of China. No, go ahead.
The White House together.
Hold on, dude. We're offline. My internet died.
Oh,
there it goes. Now we're back.
We're
of
back.
Course, we're back. Yep, my internet took we're in the middle of a huge storm here right now, so I apologize. We're back up. So anyway, Justin, please continue.
So all three of the hardware manufacturers did write a joint letter to the White House a few weeks ago. But Sony has been kind of extra vocal about it, and in the chat we were trying to figure out why, and I assume it's probably because they were planning on subsidizing hardware costs a bit more on the PS5 than they did with the PS4. Because PS4 was basically sold at cost at launch. Basically, they said if you bought a game or PS Plus with it, it was profitable.
But if you don't do those things, like it's important to point out, like at the beginning of the generation, for at least the first few years, almost every console sold at a loss.
Yeah. So
or if you're the Xbox 360, almost the entire generation.
Right.
But yeah, so maybe they were planning on subsidizing hardware costs a bit more with the PS5, and then can't do that with the tariffs on top. But yeah, Sony in particular seems pretty spooked about this.
And I mean, they should be, right? Like right now, what is the price of a PS4 vanilla right now? What is it, like $199? Is it $299?
It's $299, but right now there's a lot of $249 promotions going on, which makes it seem likely there's probably going to be a price drop coming soon.
Not if there's a fucking tariff. Not if these fucking
or a super
tariffs,
slim or something. Yeah.
Not if these fucking tariffs take place. Lina, I just, we're entering uncharted territory here, right? Like we've never really encountered a scenario like this before. And I think that if somebody doesn't talk some sense, which is fucking impossible, into our POTUS, if somebody doesn't do something about this, then this could be potentially catastrophic for the gaming industry. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, it's going to drive all the prices up, and I think overall sales were going down for hardware lately, and I think it's just going to drive it down even
They're
further.
going to go real far
problems.
down if this happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, didn't Microsoft say like Xbox is down like 48%?
It was
hardware wise. It was like 48% hardware this year, and like last year wasn't a great year for them too. Like if prices go up or they're not able to do like Black Friday promotions and or anything, and like that's before we even factor in next gen consoles.
It was a sizable amount.
Yeah. Like it's going to be bad news for a lot of them.
So I don't want to stick on this topic too long, but I wanted to talk about the sales numbers real quick and kind of work the tariff stuff in there, because that's something that just happened today. And man, I don't know. I hope more intelligent brains prevail on this one. Although with this administration, I have absolutely no fucking hope of that happening whatsoever. So I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be a really interesting. So what are these things supposed to take effect sometime in September? The tariffs?
September 1st, but like I think they also have meetings scheduled with China. Like I don't know. I don't want to make any predictions because I feel like it could go anyway. But like last time they had meetings and then tariffs got delayed, and so we'll see what happens. I don't want to. I mean, also I'm not really all that knowledgeable about this sort of thing.
I mean, I'm not, which is why I wish Matt Piscatella were here. I asked him. He's doing wedding planning stuff, but I wish Matt were here because I'm stupid on this shit. I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about half the time about this. But we'll go ahead and move on. Do we want to tackle? You know what? If you guys don't mind, I wouldn't mind tackling Call of Duty next.
Yeah, go for it.
Brandon, Lina, are you okay with that? Little Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. So there was a big information dump about the multiplayer stuff happening in Call of Duty today. And of course, anybody who follows my Twitter knows that I've got some opinions on the current iteration of Modern Warfare. I guess what's the best way to describe it? A reboot? Like is this generally a reboot?
Yeah.
Like,
reboot.
Okay, yeah. So I've got
a reboot of a sub-series.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not an actual. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the whole thing is weird, but it's Modern Warfare. They're going back to they're going back to the drawing board. Excuse me. And there have been a lot of questionable decisions made, in my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, by Infinity Ward concerning realism. And I won't go down that road again because I've tread down it a billion times. But what I will say is I am a little off-put by the inclusion of something like white phosphorus as a kill streak in the multiplayer. And I say this because, and I had some people on Twitter say, well, John, what about nuclear weapons? What about blah, 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 blah? And I'm like, okay, but like, here's the thing, right? Like, we don't just fire nuclear weapons, at our enemies to get them out of a foxhole or get them out of a building. With a nuclear weapon, like, that's it. You're dead, right? And a nuclear weapon is not considered a war crime under the Geneva Convention. There's no, like, nuclear weapons are terrible, and they kill, they have the potential to kill hundreds of thousands of people at once, as we saw in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. But you're dead. Like a nuclear weapon detonates and you are instantly vaporized. Like, there's no suffering. It's just, you're done. Your life is snuffed out. With white phosphorus,
skin melts off your bones and you're dead.
That's it. Like, it literally happens instantaneously. With white phosphorus, it's a little different. It's a lot fucking different. It's not just a little different.
Okay. Yeah. There's been white phosphorus scenes in plenty of games before.
There have.
Homefront.
Spec Ops The Line.
Spec Ops The Line
notably has the really big one.
And like, I want to be clear about this, right? Like, I don't have a problem doing this kind of stuff if it's told in a meaningful way, if it's for a purpose, if it is doing something to further a narrative.
Yeah.
Like,
because I think you have two good examples. Yeah, Spec Ops The Line was the example of like doing something with it narratively, and then Homefront was the example of like We can just use it to get past this military roadblock.
And like that's also kind of the weird place where I'm at right now with like Call of Duty, because I agree with a lot of the criticism of the marketing, but I want to actually, see for myself what they're doing with like the campaign, because I know a lot of times there is a disconnect between marketing, the creatives involved, and how the scene might play out. And they've shown absolutely nothing of the campaign and have just made a lot of fairly misguided marketing statements so far that makes it difficult to give them the benefit of the doubt. I am interested in some of the themes and things that they're exploring with this game, but they haven't given me a lot of, faith or anything to hold on to that they're going to handle it well.
And I don't trust them to either, Justin. Like I'll be straight up with you. I don't like.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it is Infinity Ward, like, who I think I have more faith in Infinity Ward pulling it off than like Treyarch. Like Treyarch, I've mentioned before, I have quite a few issues with how violence and stuff is handled by Treyarch, but like even Infinity Ward went from the original Modern Warfare, which I think is pretty smart and pretty political game, which had like a scene that shows the horrors of nuclear weapons, to adding the tactical nuke in as a fun thing in multiplayer.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Dragon Punch in chat. I have not seen Dragon in here in a long time. Of course, Donnie Kong on Twitter now. But hey, dude, what's up? Come by more often. I'm so happy to see you here. Yeah, like if you want to understand why I've got a problem with this, if you want to, I'm not telling you should, but go and look at pictures of what happens to individuals when they are hit with white phosphorus. It's not, I mean, you suffer. It is a vile weapon. I don't like chemical warfare, and there's a reason that it is banned from use in conventional warfare, far away from or anywhere near civilian areas. But Brandon, dude, you were a Marine just like me. I would love to get your thoughts on this, and if you can disagree with me if you want, man. Please feel free. Like,
I mean, I don't know.
Well,
like, what do you want me to say? You didn't really ask a question.
Oh no, so no, like I want to see what you I want to see what you think about this. Like, or even better yet, to phrase it a different way, like, do you think that I don't know, like, do you think that I'm making too big a deal over it?
I mean, because the game's not out yet, so
Yeah.
like, is it? But I think there's reason to be concerned, because like I said, we've seen examples of it being used carelessly as a plot device in games before. Like I said, Homefront, they just use it for the hell of using it. Like, there's no care given to, like, what it does to people, the ethics of using it in warfare.
I actually did see I think I actually saw it used in a in footage today, and like it doesn't even seem like
they could call it anything, right?
Yeah, like they literally could call it anything. Like you just
Yeah.
see the white stuff come out, and then you see some fire. Like
Yeah.
they'll probably just rename it to like Napalm Strike or something.
Yeah,
Like,
and even
like
napalm
something
has its
similar. Yeah,
connotations
yeah,
with the
even
Vietnam War.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's actually a conversation in chat right now that I want to address, and it's about Dragon. It's about chemical warfare. There is nothing, as somebody who has been near a war, there is nothing that scares me worse than chemical warfare or biological warfare, because of what it does to you. For example, take sarin, right? Like, everybody has heard of sarin. 3 drops of sarin next to you will kill you. What it does is it is a nerve agent that will literally wring every liquid out of your body like a sponge. Rigor mortis will set in before you die. You will shit your pants. You'll piss your pants. You'll snot yourself. You'll cry. And you will die a very slow, incredibly agonizing death. White phosphorus does something similar to you. only it applies a burning effect as well. I mean, it is an insidious weapon, and yeah, so I don't know, like in my opinion, to use it for something like as a reward for a kill
So
streak.
carelessly, yeah. Like if you're gonna put it in your game, like have something to say about it, or just don't use
And
it.
like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was something like that actually does address it in the campaign, like in an actual intelligent way. And then they're just like, oh, we can reuse these assets to add something in for multiplayer. They even made a statement today. Oh, campaign and multiplayer are separate things. Like they're going for different tones and different not quite settings, but they even described, they described multiplayer as, playground versus the campaign where they're tackling
Right.
other things.
Which makes sense.
And like, I mean, that's something that I've talked about with, I've talked about that with several people before. And like, there's always this big, like any kind of competitive multiplayer game, that has like a single player, like, and when they really want to take on like realistic kind of violence, like there's always this huge disconnect.
But
Like I know and this is kind of my go-to example. Like, The Last of Us is a game I think that handled violence and its depiction of violence really well in the story. And then you head over to the multiplayer and it's just like, pay $2.99 for this special execution.
But this is different though. Like I think this is different because like in The Last of Us or a game like that, you're basically paying for an animation, right? Like you're paying for. I mean, it doesn't kill anybody any quicker or slower than
right, but
else.
it's still like commodifying the violence that they are so reflective on in the single player.
But my thing is that look, like a scenario like The Last of Us.
I wasn't trying to say it was the same thing, but
no,
just kind of like illustrating how there is this kind of like strange disconnect that I don't think any game has really been able to fully bridge.
I think it's more personal for me simply because I've seen the effects of what a chemical weapon does to somebody.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And,
obviously, you're going to be more attached to it than I am.
Like, and I had a lot of people come at me on Twitter saying, snowflake, bleh. And I was like, okay, well, first of all, go enlist, and second of all, look, I've got a different perspective because I have seen what this kind of shit does to the human body, and I would not wish that. What white phosphorus does to you, go look it up if you're not familiar. I wouldn't wish that shit on my worst enemy. And I just don't think it's any like Brandon said. I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's something to be just thrown out as a reward of all things in a multiplayer mode. I just don't.
I don't know.
It's
unnecessary.
Exactly, right? Like, why not just say, okay, you drop a shitload of bombs? I mean, like it's, I just
doesn't.
Yeah, like I said,
it's white phosphorus.
Like I said, I saw what it looks like in game earlier today. It could have been called anything.
Yeah, it could have been called something else. And the thing is like somebody pointed out to me, well, the U.S. government has, or the military has used white phosphorus before. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I don't fucking agree with it. I don't think we should be using it. I think it's cruel and unusual, and it doesn't do us a bit of good. I don't think we need it. But I wanted to make sure that Lina had a chance to cut on this well. I don't want to cut Lina out. Lina, I don't know how big you are into Call of Duty, but is this something you have an opinion on? Is this something that you would like to speak on?
Sure.
Please.
Call of Duty as a whole is not really my jam, but it's important to remember that media does affect people, and depiction of violence and depiction of war crimes can affect how people view those things. So, for instance, Spec Ops: The Line is where I learned what white phosphorus was in the first place, and I know it's horrific now. If I had learned about it in fun, multiplayer game where I just got a kill streak and then suddenly I was burning my enemies alive with this white stuff, I'd be like, that's probably just something they made up. But, it's important to remember that media does affect people, and I think there's a way to portray it in such a way that people understand that this is a bad thing. And that you have some depictions that are like Fallout and everybody has nukes, and like people understand that nukes are bad, I guess, but it's in such a way that like it's just kind of wacky, you know, like.
Well, I think
So-
that there's a disconnect between the old Fallout games and the new ones when it comes to that.
Right, and I
Yeah.
even think there's a
Yeah.
disconnect between the old Call of Duty games
Yeah.
and the new Call of Duty games.
True.
Which is why like this Modern Warfare hits like such a weird place for me, because like some of the stuff they're talking about is kind of thematically and tonally what I was hoping would be built on from, you know, the original Modern Warfare, and that
Yeah.
ended up not happening. However, like I can't, you know, forget about the baggage of the direction that the series has gone in recent years, which is pretty far away from that.
Well, Lina, did you want to finish your thought?
Gotta think about where I was. So, okay, so I guess not everything has to make a statement necessarily, but I do think that there are some topics that we should be sensitive on in their depiction, and that's really my point. You know, things like white phosphorus and stuff like that, you know, maybe don't have that in such a lighthearted way in your game, but...
Well, Dragon, Enter the Dragon Punch in chat. I want to keep calling him Donnie because he changed his Twitter handle. He says, I think nukes are also subjectively more cartoonish. They're obviously horrible things, but they haven't been used in over 75 years. White phosphorus is something that still gets used to fuck up citizens to this day. That's a really good point.
Yeah, it was really. I mean, Fallujah was 15 years ago.
Well, and I mean, and that's just being used in Syria like now.
Yeah.
You know, like but yeah, I mean, we dropped that shit in Fallujah just 15 years ago, Brandon, and you know, I saw what it does to the human body, and to have that as a reward in a multiplayer mode just doesn't sit well with me. And people are free to disagree with me. People are free to say, "Oh, you're weak," you know, like I've been getting on Twitter. But I'm not changing my stance on this. I don't want it in there, and I would love it if Infinity Ward removed it. You can call it what you will, but I think it's in poor taste, and I don't think it has any place there. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a really bad idea. Like Justin just said in chat, a nuke is just a big explosion, right? Like I said earlier, you know, it's a big explosion and you're gone. White phosphorus, something like white phosphorus or any kind of chemical warfare is something different. And I just, you know, I don't want to tell developers what they should and shouldn't do. At the same time, I think that there is a line of, I don't know, I guess decency, for lack of a better term, that I don't think should be crossed, because this stuff is getting used against civilians in Syria right now, and by the Assad regime, and it's horrible, and I just not a fan of what Infinity Ward is doing here.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, we just wait to see how
Yeah.
it gets in the final game. Like we've set our piece on it.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was some of the gameplay stuff, specifically the realism TDM mode. I think it is. I looked into and I was like, okay, realism, interesting. And I looked into it, and it apparently, like, as far as I can tell, it's just turning the HUD off until you get a UAV and doing some
like
stuff.
That's actually in all the modes now. There's no mini map until you get a UAV.
So what makes it I mean, in that case, what makes it like realism? Like, I mean, I don't get it. You know, like
I don't know about the realism mode. I know they have modes where like you need to use night vision, like on dark maps because it's so dark you can't see, stuff like that. Like, it just seems just a bit more grounded than typical Call of Duty. You're not getting the same kind of like, oh, there's not robots running around, right, and stuff like that. Like, I think they're just kind of, you know, talking about. I think they're just kind of talking about a general, you know, the realistic as compared to recent Call of Duty, not like realistic.
They're not going for Arma. Like, their comparison is the rest of their own series that's been going for 20 years almost.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't want to beat the Call of Duty drum too much because I do want to move on to Wolfenstein. I want to get Wolfenstein out of the way.
I do want to talk about the crossplay for Call of Duty because I think it's cool how they're doing it.
Do it quick.
Okay, so basically they had mentioned this before, but there is full crossplay for Modern Warfare. All platforms can play together, and it's actually based off of input method. So you can hook up a keyboard and mouse to your PS4 and play with PC players if you want. You can hook up a controller to your PC, play with console players, which I think is a really cool, smooth way to do it. I think it's easily understandable for everybody, and it allows the most players the most options for how to play. I think that's a really good move. I'm excited about that. I'm very positive on that aspect. Obviously,
Yeah.
I have criticisms of other things, but I'd really like to see something something like that become more standard.
Yeah, no, I'm glad people are finally getting on, or companies anyway, are getting on the cross-platform bandwagon. So I think that's a good thing for everybody.
Yeah, that's cool.
I do want to move on to Wolfenstein Youngblood because I want to talk about that, and then I want to answer. We got a lot of really cool questions that I'd love to answer. And I want to start off with Lina. I want to kick this over to Lina. Lina, you have been wanting to talk about Wolfenstein Youngblood in fact, we talked about this earlier. Derek suggested it, and then I DM'd you, and you said I was actually going to ask you. So please go ahead and kick us off.
Okay. So with Wolfenstein, I know some people have read my tweets about it, and my tweets were harsher than I intended to be, but I have really mixed feelings about it. I feel like it's important to know what you're getting before you get into it, because I didn't. I thought, because I didn't really look into it very much, that's on me, but I didn't realize it was going to be a game with, like, dailies and, like, leveled enemies that will floor you if you're.
Neither did I.
I didn't.
The reviews came.
I didn't see that coming at all.
So I think a lot of it had to do with my expectations, because I really just thought I was going to play another Wolfenstein game.
I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be like another Wolfen quite, but like, yeah, like there's a lot of the structure of the game that's just like nobody knew.
Yeah. And so I've mostly been playing it with my girlfriend, and I couldn't imagine playing it by myself. I actually tried to, and the game seemed pretty boring without someone else. I feel like a lot of my enjoyment came from the fact that I was working with someone else and having that banter. So I would suggest playing it with someone else if you can.
Lina, when you're playing co-op, does it? Were you playing it couch co-op, or were you playing it online? Did you have a split screen, or?
It was online.
It was online. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it actually supports split screen.
Does it not support? Okay.
I think it's online only.
Okay.
I think so. I bought the $40 edition, and then that lets me play with anyone that downloads the demo, and I can invite them into my game. And I did that so she could play. Eventually, I'm going to make Derek play it with me.
Come on, Derek. Play with Lina.
But, yeah, I mean, a few of my issues with it were really just, like, okay, the gunplay still feels fine. It feels like Wolfenstein, and it's still enjoyable. I thought it was kind of strange, but I guess also understandable that some things like dual wielding were locked behind. You had to level up and spend points to get dual wielding. And I guess that can be played off as the protagonist not being as skilled as BJ, okay. But there was a mission that stuck out to me. There was one of the missions that we had to do. It was an earlier mission. It was like a level 12 mission. And we had to go somewhere and investigate something. And what ended up happening is we spent about 2 minutes in an area, going somewhere, and then they said, okay, well, we've investigated this area. Like, we killed a few Nazis. And then it said, go somewhere else. So we left to go somewhere else. We spent another 2 minutes in another area. And there were loading screens about the same length of time that we were in these areas. And it just seemed really choppy. Like, the gameplay just seems really disjointed. And
it doesn't flow well.
No, that's just how I feel about it, of course. But it feels like there's parts that don't mesh, I guess.
Do you enjoy playing as BJ's daughters, or would you rather play as BJ himself? And again, I'm asking you this as somebody who has not played the game yet. I'm going to fire it up for the first time this weekend.
So I didn't really know what to expect as far as his daughters are concerned, but their writing is fine. Like they're what I would expect, because BJ's kind of a country boy. So he has the daughters you would expect, just as far as how they're written. So I mean, I like them. There's no actual like gameplay difference between them, and that's good. I at the beginning of the game, you choose like a power, one of two powers, and that way you can work together with the other person. But yeah, I liked playing as his daughters. Honestly, they're interesting.
And how long did it take you to clear the game? About how many hours did you put into it?
Well, I haven't finished it yet.
Oh, okay, all right. So how far are you in? Like hour wise, like without spoiling anything.
On my own, because I'm further on my own than I am with.
Oh, okay. So you're doing two different playthroughs then. You're doing one by
Yeah.
yourself. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah, because I wanted to know how it played differently because some of the locks require two people.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. So with that knowledge, I'll kick it over to Justin. And Justin, I'll ask you right off the bat. I saw a really interesting comparison to Dishonored, in regards to Wolfenstein Youngblood, and I was wondering if you could, I don't know, maybe take that and expand on it. And I want to be clear to everybody in the chat, like the comparison didn't come from Justin, but I saw it, and it's not the only person.
I have made that comparison.
You have? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So for those that don't know, like this game was not solely made by Machine Games like the previous ones. Arcane Studios, developers of Dishonored, also collaborated with them on it. And worked a lot on the level design. And because that was really main sticking point for a lot of people with New Colossus, especially. You're in a lot of bases that look very samey, and they're kind of just a lot of corridors and stuff. It didn't bother me too much in that game, but it was a major complaint.
Yeah, there was more variety in the new one.
As well as kind of some of the combat feedback and hit reactions for the player. So kind of this collaboration has kind of basically let both Machine Games and Arcane focus on what they do really well. And has really, I think this game actually plays the best out of any of the current Wolfenstein games. I'm a big fan of this series. This current reboot. And I just think the layouts are really cool. There's tons of little alleyways that you can use as shortcuts, and you're doing a lot of missions in these same few areas, but they're kind of like, it's like multiple like large sandbox levels. So it's not like open world or anything, but the levels are big. And so like as you go on, you're like, oh, I can double jump onto this awning and then into this apartment and then go through and have like a good angle of attack on the group of Nazis on the other side.
So I actually, Justin, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I want to touch on something that Sam, our good friend Sam, who's, by the way, writing for Windows Central. Sam, congratulations. Sam is one of the most talented young gaming journalists I know in the industry, and if you're not following him on Twitter, he's at Samuel Tolbert. You need to go follow him because Sam has a lot of really interesting things to say about the industry today, and he's just a good guy. Go follow him. He's great. But Sam in chat says he said the level design for the courthouse was awful, and I fucking agree. Like the courthouse in Wolfenstein: The New Colossus was one of the worst gaming experiences I've had. I love the game, but it was terrible. The
design was fine. It's just the encounter design was.
The encounter was so
right.
hard.
Yeah, like it was just bad. It was just a bad level. Justin, is there anything like that here?
It's the best level in the game.
There's a final.
If you like the combat, it's the best level in the game.
Oh man, I don't know, dude. Like
what you get all you like. It's like 5 minutes of nothing but shooting Nazis. Like if that's what you're playing the game for, it's like one of the best things.
Yeah.
In the game.
I remember kind of enjoying it.
Okay, so most of the game.
Hate the courthouse. Jesus.
Most of the game.
Maybe if with a controller it sucked. But...
Maybe I'm just not any good at the game. I might just be terrible at the fucking game.
Suck at the game. It sucks.
I mean, I beat the first game on Uber or whatever, and that Uber in the entire first game was easier than the courthouse on.
Dude, I fucking threw my fucking controller across the room so many times.
I'm not gonna say like I beat it on the first try, but that's why I liked it. Like,
I got so fucking mad.
It took a little bit of effort.
I'm not gonna lie, I got so mad. I punched my wall. I was like, why the fuck can't I do this? I was so pissed off.
I mean, it's not that hard. Like, what the fuck? If
Maybe
you're
I'm just
playing, like,
terrible at the
Doom,
fucking game.
You're supposed to take cover.
Yeah, okay, so
In a Wolfenstein game?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't take cover in a Wolfenstein. Anyway,
You take
Justin.
cover
so
in,
John,
like, the
to answer the
entire-
question that you asked me. So I was like, most of the game is, I think, quite a bit easier. I really like the combat design in this. I do think sometimes I did play the game actually entirely solo. And I was actually really impressed by the AI teammate. Like, they'll actually kill enemies, but they don't take they don't like feel like they're taking, the spotlight away from you. But you can still use them to kind of distract enemies and stuff. However, the final boss fight is really kind of designed for one player to distract the boss while the other one goes around to hit the weak point behind them.
That sounds lame as hell.
And
Justin,
trying to do that.
Is it lame as hell, Justin?
It's so goddamn hard, dude. Like, doing it without another player. I breezed through, difficulty-wise, most of the game on normal. I turned it down 2 notches because there's a casual and then there's easy. I turned it down to easy, and I still kept dying on the final boss. So the final boss is hard as shit, but everything else is, like, once you get used to... There's... The one weird thing is, like, there's this, basically a system for armor versus certain bullets. So, like, certain types of guns are more effective against certain types of armor. However, the HUD icons are kind of hard to tell the difference between. So I think that might be, the reason some people are having issues with bullet sponge enemies, because the enemies, as long as you're matching armor types, go down pretty quickly. Like, and by the end of the game, like, when they have pretty in-depth weapon customization. Like, you can get specific bonuses as well as, changing your loadouts, and you can even change the types of fire rates and stuff. Like some of the big robot enemies, which early in the game felt like they took forever to take down. I could take them down in 2 or 3 shots, knowing where their weak points were and matching the right weapons and stuff. And I think if that part of the combat doesn't click for you, you'll be stuck with very spongy enemies, and it can probably be really frustrating.
So I want to kick a question back over to Lina, and because Brandon, you had mentioned this as well, is that I had no idea this thing had like weekly quests and shit, right?
I mean, that was not in the trailer. I watched every single trailer.
Me too.
The dailies and weeklies are worthless, by the way. I've done them.
Well, hold on. I want to kick this back over to Lina. Lina, I want you to tell me about the weekly and daily quests, because I know fucking nothing about this. This was news to me until review. Like, I read the reviews and I was like, weekly and daily quests? What? This is a fucking Wolfenstein game. Like, what exactly is this? What are we talking about?
Well, I mean, there are quests, and some of them pop up like while you're out doing things. Like, it'll just randomly give you a quest, like go put a microphone somewhere or something like that. But then there are quests that you get, and there's a weekly and a daily, and they just give you currency to spend on things. I mean, I didn't mess with them too much, to be honest with you, because, like Justin said, they're a little worthless.
What is it, like kill 10 Nazis with a knife? Like,
objective
based?
Yeah.
It's literally stuff like that. Like, it's stuff that you'll just do while playing that give you a little bit of experience and some of the coins that you can use to purchase, like, weapon upgrades and stuff. But the thing is, like, you have to play a bit into the game to unlock them. And then shortly after, like, the amount of experience and coins that they give you is straight up worthless. Like the weekly quest, which the weekly is just complete 7 dailies. That gave me like 4,000 experience. By the time I was done with the game, a regular enemy gave me 1,200 experience.
A fucking Wolfenstein game with experience points. Like, I don't.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, honestly, it feels like a better system than the upgrade system, like in
the perks. Yeah.
that you had to like do X number of things, certain number of
Really?
times. You can
I
actually
love
buy.
that. What?
You can just buy the upgrades that you want instead. Like, I actually kind of like how.
I
it
mean, yeah,
works in
the
this.
perk system was all about replay value because it gave you different ways to play the game when you do it on with the second character.
I will say I do
Like you
like.
can go stealth the first time and then balls to the wall the second.
Yeah, I do like the weapon customization. in
The weapon
game.
customization is really good.
That
Yeah,
is a thing that I really like about it.
I just wish it had like a Crisis style menu that you could bring up in game and change the attachments, because like some things you can turn into like a sniper rifle versus something good for crowds, instead of having to like manually open up the menu, scroll over and everything. It would be nice if it was like Crisis style where you could just switch the parts out that you have.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely so my wife and I are actually going to play through it. I think we're starting this weekend. So like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, right? Like the idea of a co-op Wolfenstein is intriguing to
The
me.
gunplay is gonna be good for sure.
Yeah, sure, Brandon. Like, and I'll play it. Like Brandon, I'm sure you'll probably play it at some point, right?
Honestly,
Like,
yeah, I'll pick it up on a sale.
yeah. It's one of those games where, like, it's not Wolfenstein 3. I don't feel like a sudden rush or urge to play it. I'm having a lot of fun with Final Fantasy 14 and Fire Emblem right now, but my wife and I will finish it piecemeal, and we'll have something to say about it when we're done.
The one thing I will say about Youngblood is, story-wise, it absolutely does not compare to any of the previous.
Yeah,
I've heard
and
that-
that's
And also, it's kind of weird because it references a couple major events that have not happened in the game.
that's
in the
cool.
games,
See, I like that.
like I have a feeling that when we get Wolfenstein 3, like Wolfenstein 3 is going to start before Youngblood and then pick up after Youngblood.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Based off of some of that stuff. But like the opening cutscene is really good, but like the rest is just very much, where's BJ? Like,
yeah. And I was expecting that. Like, I wasn't, I was.
But I mean, I actually ended up liking this game a whole lot more than Old Blood. I had problems with.
That's kind of a low bar. Well, I didn't really care for Old Blood.
I also didn't love Old Blood.
Me neither.
Yeah,
man.
but I liked this a whole lot more than I thought I was going. So
Cool. I'm looking forward to
I really
playing it.
enjoyed it.
I want to move on to. So here's my dilemma. We got a lot of questions to talk about tonight, or to answer tonight. I do want to talk about the Ninja Mixer stuff. Should we answer questions and save that for next week when we have a bigger panel, or do you want to talk about it now?
It won't be relevant next week.
Okay, so let's talk about it now. So,
Yeah.
So today we learned that Ninja, who is basically, for lack of he's the #1 streamer in the world, signed an I don't even know how to fucking describe this, like an exclusivity deal with Mixer. Like
Microsoft's streaming platform.
Like Brandon, I can't remember. I think this is the first time this has been done.
Yeah, because Twitch is like the first one of its kind to to be like a dedicated gaming streaming platform.
I know YouTube and Facebook have tried, but they've never tried with huge people. They've usually tried with people that have like a following on YouTube that also stream.
Yeah.
And usually even then it was usually only for like a couple months.
Yeah,
or something, but like
plenty of like the biggest Fortnite YouTubers stream on Twitch.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and so like I guess like Lina, have you been following this news today with Ninja and Mixer?
I have, and I really haven't heard anything about Mixer until this moment. So.
Yeah,
right.
Same.
Yeah, right. Like
about Mixer.
I've been to some Mixer parties at PAX, and that's as much as I know. And by the way, I know one of the guys who runs the show at Mixer, Andy Salisbury, is a great fucking guy. Like I'm very happy for Andy, and the whole team at Mixer. Like I think this is going to do great things for Mixer.
People have been talking. I mean, it's been a huge topic.
It's a big fucking deal because this is going to open. So like what we're going to see now is basically a fucking bidding war for big name streamers.
Well, there's been rumors that Dr. Disrespect posted a tweet like 2 weeks ago where he was at Microsoft's headquarters talking about some NDA shit. So,
Can you imagine if Microsoft took Dr.
Ninja?
Like holy shit!
Ninja.
As far as I'm concerned, they can fucking have Dr. Disrespect.
I know
Sucks,
like, most people don't care about Twitch, but like.
But like
they're gonna take some big names and probably they're gonna make some plays in the next few months.
This is so.
I've used Mixer exactly once. It was during E3.
Yeah.
Zach and I were watching like a Gears 4 stream or Gears 5 stream, and I was actually kind of impressed with it. Like, it seems like a decent platform. It seems well moderated, at least for that chat, which was an official Microsoft thing. And the quality of stream was actually pretty good. Like, it's just nobody uses it. So it'll be interesting to see where
that
it goes.
may change soon.
Yeah.
So here's my question. I want to kick over to Lina first. This wasn't discussed, but I guarantee you it's a factor. How much was he paid? How much money has he made off of this already? What's the contract, Lina? What do you think?
More than I've ever seen in my life.
Go ahead, please. I want to hear this.
I don't know, millions. It's
easily millions.
It's in the millions.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So here's my question: did this cost more than any of the studios Microsoft has recently bought?
Brandon, why don't you take that one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to guess money. But like, it's obviously a massive investment for them, and I don't think it's like I said, I don't think it's the only one. I think they've got all sorts of deals going on in the back, and this is just their first big one to break the ice, gets everyone talking about it. Like, holy shit, Ninja, one of the biggest streamer of last year, and then maybe next week they'll say Dr. Disrespect, and then 2 weeks from then they'll say like fucking Soda Poppin' or somebody. Like, who knows?
I mean, like, so Lervinar in chat makes a really good point. Like, Ninja got 1 million viewers for Apex, right? Or was it 1 million players? I can't remember which one.
No, he got 1 million.
Yeah,
streaming.
It was and SDGC on Mixer went, but sooner than you think, maybe. Who knows what's gonna happen to Twitch? But I mean, Mixer, if you want to throw some money our way, if you want to throw us an exclusive contract, we're willing to discuss. We're willing to negotiate here on SDGC. But I'm going to postulate right now. He made in the double digits. When we're talking about millions, if we want to talk about a contract, the gang sells out. Yeah. Like, he made 10 to $15 million. If you figure like from subs and like subs alone, if he's making like about $5 million a year,
Microsoft money, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've got a bottomless fucking war chest.
He probably picked up close to what he made all of last year.
Yep.
Because keep in mind, like, this isn't like an Xbox deal. This is a Microsoft deal.
Yep.
Like,
exactly.
And they definitely think like this is Microsoft competing directly with Amazon. So like.
Yeah,
they're going to be putting some money behind this.
Straight up, they're not fucking around.
So we've got a question in chat. I want to kick it over to Lina. Terralock 87. I hope I'm probably butchering that. How paranoid?
You already butchered it. No matter
I already did. Yeah. How paranoid do y'all think this will make Twitch at this point?
Yeah, I bet they had emergency meetings today. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Twitch. How fast did they unverify him?
They within like minutes. I want to kick. Lina, what do you think?
Well, at this point, they lost their biggest streamer, so to them it's probably, well, who's next, and how much are they going to get bought for, and what can we do? So I think they're probably extremely paranoid, and I'm not upset that there's competition, I guess.
I'm not either. And I want to ask Brandon. I mean, this can't be the end, right? Like there's going to be more. This is just the opening salvo for Mixer.
So I'm curious. How long has Mixer been around?
A couple of years.
2 years.
I feel like I've been
I think it was 2
hearing
years. Sam in chat might be able to answer that. Sam, how long has Mixer been around?
I feel like I've heard Sam mention it many
times. Yeah. If Sam could drop in chat how long Mixer's been around, but I mean, the thing is, Brandon, is that like this is a Microsoft check. It's not an Xbox check, and Microsoft has an essentially bottomless war chest when it comes to stuff like this. So. I mean, Brandon. So if you had to speculate on how long it would be before we saw the next big streamer like sign an exclusivity deal,
this month, yeah.
This month, you think it's going to be that soon?
Another one this month, yeah.
Who do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be Dr. Disrespect?
I mean, okay, so like if you saw that tweet at like
That's interesting.
And
I didn't know about that tweet,
He
Brandon.
he was heavily implying that, like, so he tweeted a picture of, like, the tweet was like, hey, I went for a run and I just happened to get down to Microsoft and talking about some NDA shit. And then
I saw that. I
Yeah.
think people were like assuming
Well,
he
he posted
played something.
yeah, and then
Did he
now
go to the
after this,
bathroom?
people
Yeah,
are
but
like,
now
oh,
it seems like
the
this.
mix,
yeah.
the Mixer offices are in that very office that he was.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And this was about a month ago or 2 months ago that he posted that tweet.
I
So-
bet they announce like one a week for
Yeah,
a little
something
while.
It's
like
like
yeah.
so Brandon, I want to ask Brandon one more question. Brandon, does Twitch need to be worried?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah. Like there, like how we've talked so much about how Twitch is feast or famine for, like, it's
Yeah.
the top streamers are the ones bringing in all the viewers, and who cares about the 99% of other streamers that have 2 viewers or 1 or 0? Like, that's what 99% of Twitch is. So, like, yeah, when they lose their ninja, he's like the one who's bringing them all their viewers.
So what's interesting is that Dragon in chat said that less than 200,000 of his
200K
or 200K, yeah, 200,000 of his 14 million followers have gone over to Mixer for him so far, even with the lure of free subs, which is interesting, although he won't stream on Mixer for the first time until tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, his first broadcast is going to bring in a shitload of fucking views, right?
With the way people were talking about it today, yeah.
It's going to bring subs, we'll see, but
Viewers,
like
the number will be there.
viewers, absolutely. Subs, I don't know, Justin, he's going to get the views tomorrow. Absolutely, 100%. But if you're talking subs, like, do you think everybody's going to come away from Twitch? All his subscriptions are gonna migrate over to Mixer immediately?
I don't fucking know.
There's so many. We've never seen this before.
Like this is. I think most likely it'll be. I mean, he's gonna get big numbers tomorrow, but I think also, like, there's probably gonna be a lot of journalists and stuff watching too, because I think whatever tomorrow's stream is kind of big business news for the industry.
Yeah, it is,
almost.
Yeah.
I might actually watch it tomorrow just because this is, like, for the industry, it's historic. I don't even like Ninja, but I might watch it tomorrow because I'm interested to see what happens.
Like, I think it's going to be a slow build. However, like, I don't think Ninja alone would do it, even though Ninja is, a huge name. I think it'd be a few other, I think it would take a few other people kind of consistently streaming for it to really make a dent. I mean, it'll be interesting to watch. I mean, I don't follow the whole Twitch scene too closely, aside from, some of the big numbers and some of the, few people that I watch. But it'll be just interesting to see, how it goes. Because I think from, my experience with Mixer, which admittedly it was only one time, but I liked it. So we'll see, and we'll also see how Amazon decides to punch back, because I feel like Amazon's are gonna start making some changes to Twitch to try to keep some of these big streamers on. They probably went straight to panic mode today.
It's going to be a year from now. It's going to be really interesting to look at the streaming landscape at that point, as opposed to. I mean,
Twitch has been the go-to without competition. And 9 years.
I mean, what? Just like, I'll end on this. Like, what a fucking baller move by Mixer. Like that. Like, regardless of your feelings on Ninja, this was a baller fucking move. And I just hit everybody blindsided today. Like, I couldn't fucking believe what I was seeing. I do want to move on to some questions we got on Twitter, because we get some really fun ones.
Yeah.
And I want to start with from Undead316 Roman numerals, Undead3 XVI. He wants to know, Nicholas Downey. He wants to know if I wanted to play my first Final Fantasy game, what should it be, Brandon?
Okay, yeah, I think it's a very easy question to answer, because most of them, like the vast majority of them, like the exceptions to it would be 1, 2, and 3, the original NES trilogy.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah,
those are just straight up archaic, and they're still like they're worth playing after you've played like all the other ones
for like a history lesson to see where the series has come from. Yeah,
but like you can start with 4, And then 5 is fine, 6 is fine, 7's fine, 8's fine, 9 is fine, 10 is fine. Obviously 11, no. You know,
No,
there's no
yeah,
reason to go
no.
back to 11 now. 12, yes. 13, questionable. I say no. I don't think 13 you should start with not even because of the quality of the game.
It's just
but
so radically different.
Yeah, it's so radically different from even like the way 7 took the way 6 and 7 moved from traditional fantasy towards like technological fantasy.
Yeah.
Like 13 is just so far out in sci-fi land that it's just not really that representative.
It's
of
not
the
a
series
fantasy
overall.
game at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I say skip 13. 14 if 14 is weird because obviously it is an MMO and it relies very heavily on nostalgia for the entire
Yes.
series. But if you are into MMOs and have never played a Final Fantasy game, I think it's still good. So there's a lot of
I would agree with you, Brandon. I would caveat it with this, right? Like it is going to hit like the final, like part of the fun of playing Final Fantasy 14 are all those nostalgia bombs that get dropped on you.
Sure, yeah, like there's there's Leviathan, there's
Right, like, and if like
I'm
for
riding
example,
a chocobo.
yeah, or even like more poignant, if you haven't played Final Fantasy 6, then the first time you get your Magitech armor mount in Final Fantasy 14 and you hear Terra's theme, like,
You're like,
it's
that's cool music, but
it's not going to hear you. It's not going
doesn't
to
have
hit
that
you.
emotional resonance.
Right,
but still, I think if you like MMOs, it's a good first one to play.
I agree.
First Final Fantasy game to play.
I agree.
And then 15 is great. Like when you first start Final Fantasy 15, it even gives you the thing. It's like for first timers and fans, like whatever the fuck.
Exactly. Yeah. I think 15.
And then also 7 remake will be.
Oh, that's gonna bring so
person.
many people in, Brandon.
Yeah.
Like for me, I've been thinking about this question all day actually, because you guys know I fucking love Final Fantasy. I would start with anything between 4 and 9 because 10 on are so radically different.
Yeah.
You should absolutely, if you're starting off with Final Fantasy, Nicholas, you should absolutely get an appreciation for where active time battles started, which is the battle system from 1 to 9. But don't
4 to 9.
Or no, you're right.
3
4
was
to 9.
pure turn.
You're right. Sorry about that. Yeah. But I mean 4, 5, and 6 are all great starting points. I'm gonna personally say 4 or 6. 1 because I think those two games have the best stories out of the Super Nintendo Final Fantasies, and also
And they're not overly convoluted.
they're not. Final Fantasy
like
6,
7, 8, and 9. You need to watch some YouTube videos to get them. Honestly,
you do. You do. Final Fantasy 6, I think, I would say, arguably for some people, has the best roster of the entire series. It certainly has the best villain. Kefka is. I don't think anybody would argue that Kefka is the best villain in the entire series. It's just a fucking magical game. I personally would start with 6. 4 is also a good choice, and then I would move on to 7, 8, 9 are good choices as well. If you were on to start, I would start with 6, but then I would move on to anything from between 10 and 15, simply because the battle system starting with Final Fantasy 10, I mean, literally changes with every game. 10
it's a good question because there's like no bad ones to really start with.
I mean, right, and that's the thing. Like
the old NES ones are like very punitive.
I dump on some of the Final Fantasy games, but they're all good games. I mean, it's Final Fantasy. You're not going to get anything that's bad.
I mean, 10 you get your turn-based battles. The graphics good, nice
exactly,
world, good music.
I mean, I would say, Brandon, arguably, it has the best love story in the series between Titus and Yuna. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fan of Squall and Renoa.
I'm not a fan of the romance plots, but I think 8 does. That's just me, and I don't even like 8 because, like I said, I'm not a fan of the romance plots. But I do think it does that the best.
Lina, do you want to cut on this before I go over to Justin?
I agree. 4 through 9. I would start with 6.
Yes.
Personally, because I agree with you.
6 is a very easy one to start.
Oh yeah, it's so fucking good. God damn, that game's perfect.
I thought about being cheeky and saying you should start with Final Fantasy Adventure for the Game Boy. But
you should start with Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
That was my first Final Fantasy. Yeah, Adventure was my first.
Brave Exvius.
Start with download all the bravest.
Record keeper, yeah.
On mobile. Justin, what about you?
It's a hard question to answer because I think like everybody always wants to say what their first one was. Like,
Yeah.
for like what your first one should be. Like my first was 7. 7 holds a really holds a special place for me. But yeah, I do agree with the 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't think you could go wrong with starting with any of those ones.
So yeah, like and that's the thing, Nicholas, is that there's really ultimately there's no wrong answer here. You can start with anything after Final Fantasy 3 and be completely satisfied.
And even then, 1, 2, and 3 have playable modern versions that are
they
more
do
enjoyable.
Absolutely.
However, still, I'm not going to say don't play Final Fantasy 3 DS as your first Final Fantasy.
It's because it's next to impossible. Yeah, it's fucking hard.
I didn't think it was even very fun.
And of course, the Dawn of Souls, like Final Fantasy 2, is the only game in the series I would say is just objectively a bad game.
Yeah.
It's just not very good. But yeah. Any Final Fantasy aside from 2, after 4, I think you are golden. Let's grab another question from @tpaz117 on Twitter. When you outfit your player character, what aesthetic or style choices do you choose? For example, in Insomniac's Spider-Man, I wear one of the classic-looking suits during daytime and the darker suits in the rain and at night. Lina, we'll kick this to you first, and then we'll go to Justin.
I usually go for the frilliest things or the purple thing.
All right. That SDGC motif, I like it. We're frilly and purple.
I mean, in Spider-Man, I'm trying to remember which one I used in Spider-Man. I think I switched every so often, but I think I ended up using the one that was like the comic shading one or something. But yeah, frilly and purple is just my aesthetic. If I can be purple, I'll do it.
Justin, what about you?
Spider-Man's kind of an interesting one to bring up for the example, because usually I like taking, my time to customize my character. Choose an outfit that I like, and usually it's not the default, but I couldn't bring myself to not use the Insomniac design advanced suit in Spider-Man PS4. I love that suit design. It's quite possibly my favorite Spider-Man suit design. On top of the fact that, like, especially for that game, it felt wrong to be using like the specialized suits that you can unlock in like the cutscenes or
it's
like
weird.
the movie suits and really stuff.
Weird.
And I mean the suits in that game are immaculately recreated. Like there's none that look like you could tell they put serious love and time into those models.
Yeah.
But like usually I think it really just depends on the game and the character. It's a tough question for me to ask, but
it's a difficult question.
Spider-Man is an interesting one because like that was the one that I couldn't bring myself to really depart from. I couldn't really depart from the default, even though I love so many of the outfits that are available in that game.
So this is actually a really interesting question for Brandon, I think, because Brandon is all aboard the Final Fantasy XIV train. Of course, Final Fantasy XIV
and
has...
it's interesting because I typically am not, one big into the customization of the appearance of my characters.
But you are now.
Yeah, I spent $10 last night on a hat, and my character looks amazing right now.
She really does.
Yeah, like a hat and I don't even know what the hell some summer clothes, like some seasonal wear.
Some seasonal wear.
So like, and straight up, I do not and still don't never have care about customization in single player game, like aesthetic customization in single player. That doesn't matter to me anyway. But in multiplayer, like in Fortnite, I was buying some emotes and skins and stuff because I care. I do care in multiplayer games. But with FF14, I guess I'm still trying to learn. I'm always looking at the wiki for what is this? Like, what gloves exist?
I do that too, Brandon. I'm like, how can I make my character look even cooler than he does now?
Yeah.
And
so I'm learning.
Well, you're actually running you're running some of the old content just to get glamour for your weapons now.
I'm literally right now doing very, very, very tedious 6-year-old content just to get a weapon purely for looks.
That's where Brandon that's where Brandon's at right now. Like that's what this game has done
But
to him.
it is very cool looking. It like glows purple and shit.
So like for me, like Final Fantasy 14 is a good example too, right? Like I got a weapon for my machinist in Final Fantasy 14 for glamour purposes, and
The one from the Orban Monastery.
Yeah, it's that silver hand cannon with like the sparks coming out of it.
Okay, where'd you have to get that from? Though? I don't even know.
I dude, I bought it off the marketplace. I saw it. I was like, that's mine. And I showed it to Brandon in game. He's like, holy shit.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah. Like buying anything like that off the market takes like all your money.
Yeah, but I've got like a few million gills, so it's not a problem for me. But like for me, like in a game that's not Final Fantasy 14, and I'm not constantly trying to recreate Edgar from Final Fantasy 6. For me, if I have the option to switch looks, and I'll just use Spider-Man here because that's the example that was given. I like to do mine based on the situation or the time of day. I actually like my costume changes to feel practical or like they make sense within the game, Justin, Like for example, like I love the Stark suit, like the red and blue Spider-Man Stark suit. From Homecoming, so I used that during the day for my playthrough, and then at night I would use the suit from Spider-Man Big Time, the comic, which is black and it has like the
neon.
The neon, yeah. I would use that as like my nighttime suit. And to
That's
me,
cool.
It felt really organic in the game. It made because like at night it makes sense for Spider-Man to dress in something that's dark. And I had a lot of fun doing that.
Well, and they also added the stealth suit from Far From Home now.
I'm gonna do another playthrough of Spider-Man here soon, and I'm absolutely doing the fucking stealth suit. Yeah.
Yeah. But by the way, I was actually just thinking because you guys were talking about FF14. I'm so excited for Destiny to be getting like transmog stuff basically for armor. With Shadowkeep.
That, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm always torn between having an outfit that looks super cool, but has like shit tier perks based off of the drops that I got, or ones that, just look like an awful mishmash of stuff, but like really rule for my playstyle. So I'm really glad that I'm going to be have that, option, and I'm gonna be a fashion warlock this fall.
I just want to point out. I want to say hi to Vengeful Cheez-It in chat. I've never seen Vengeful Cheez-It in here before, but that's a fucking dope name. Vengeful Cheez-It. That's fantastic. And I've got like a box of regular plain old Cheez-Its upstairs, and I'm just because of Vengeful. I fucking want some now, dude. Yeah, I got a fucking Cheez-It Jones now. So we'll do one more question here, and we'll save some for next week because we did get quite a few questions this week. This one is from. Another Twitter question at waypointsetcj on Twitter. What is your least favorite game in your favorite genre? Which I thought might be a fun one to tackle.
That is a good question.
And I already know what mine is.
Huh? I gotta think about it a bit.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do mine. I've actually got. So I'll give you one example, right? Like, so my favorite genre are JRPGs, like by far. Like, there's not even a question. That's my favorite genre of game. Brandon has probably heard of this game. Others may have not. But if you
is it Secret of the Stars?
No,
okay.
It is actually Beyond the Beyond.
Oh yeah.
I
would say Beyond the Beyond might be the Secret of the Stars of the PS1.
Justin knows what I'm talking about. It sounds like. Lina, have you ever played Beyond the Beyond?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay,
yeah,
so Lina.
Yeah, there's a reason.
Lina, do yourself a favor. Okay, seriously. After the podcast, go. Julie to chat is like, I can't believe Beyond the Beyond got a mention. In 2019, we're talking about Beyond the Beyond on PlayStation.
I don't even remember what it looks like. I just remember
it's fucking terrible. Like
the title alone is worth mentioning.
Beyond the Beyond.
Those are some.
It really actually tried to do what Octopath Traveler did during its battle system. Like during its battle scenes, it would like the characters look like a panorama, but it looked like somebody made it out of peanut butter. And and it was so like Brandon, the game was fucking impossible. It was fucking impossible. The game is so goddamn hard. The story makes no fucking sense. You get a character named Samson. Who was like...
I'm looking at a video right now, and the party is Stan, Annie, and Percy.
Yeah, Stan, and literally, you get a character named Samson, but he's got
is the main character Stan?
No, the main character is Finn. Like, I guess like whoever's playing that renamed him. But Samson, here's how fucking dumb this game is. Samson, yeah, everybody, like, people in chat are looking up Beyond the Beyond right now. Fucking Beyond the Beyond, you get a character named Samson, and he's like renowned for being powerful, just like the the biblical Samson is. But he's under a fucking curse when you get him, and for 10 hours of the fucking game, he's like the weakest character in your party. He's fucking useless. And it's not till near the end of the game where he gets his curse lifted. And by that point, you're like, fuck it, who cares? Like, he has done nothing this entire fucking game. It is so fucking bad. It is literally the worst JRPG I have ever played. It like, just thinking about Beyond the Beyond is like a dog taking a shit on the floor of my brain forever. Like, that is Beyond the Beyond. And I love that people in chat are actually looking it up and going, holy fucking shit, look at this game. Lina, please check Beyond the Beyond out after you get off of here, because it is Brandon, it is like the Ride to Hell redemption of JRPGs. It's that bad. It's so fucking bad.
I mean, it does look better than Secret of the Stars.
So like, I just, now I'm thinking about Beyond the Beyond, and
I'm sorry. I mean, at least the character sprites look good.
Yeah,
that's about all.
It looks like something.
Yeah, it looks like fucking shit. Lina, what about you? If you had to pick, Lina, a game, your least favorite game from your favorite genre, what would it be? What would it be?
This one's so hard. So, actually, my favorite genre is survival horror.
Oh, nice.
Or horror in general, I guess. And I mean, the game that came to mind, I guess I wouldn't necessarily call it... I guess it is survival horror. And it's low-hanging fruit, really, but Resident Evil Survivor.
Oh, that one is bad.
Yeah. Is that the GunCon one?
Yeah, but they wouldn't release it with a gun because Columbine happened recently, so you have to play with a controller. You have no choice.
Oof.
Yeah.
And the voice acting's just bad, and like, there are enemies that don't show up in any other game, and they're basically like, literally, they just put some gorillas in some nighttime sneaking outfits, and they just jump around at you and shoot at you, and it's a ridiculous game.
It was so Resident Evil Survivor is fucking trash. That game is awful. Is there anybody in chat who actually likes Resident Evil Survivor? Tell us now. Brandon, do you have a game? Have you picked your game?
So my favorite genre is FPS, first-person shooters. So I guess, like, I figure I have to go with Medal of Honor Warfighter since
I was gonna say, was it gonna be Warfighter?
I fucking I hated it so much I got a tag on NeoGAF about it. Which I assume was Bish that gave it to me. I still don't know who did it, but it was probably him. Who else gave tags on GAF? It was probably just him.
I think it was just Bish.
Mostly him.
Yeah. So I had a tag on GAF for like 5 years. It was just does not much like Medal of Honor Warfighter.
Yep.
But specifically because it's just so goddamn bland, generic. Like, why does it exist when there's like, we get a Call of Duty game every year. Honor Warfighter exists. What reason is there to play this game? I was offended by its mere existence. Like, it's not that bad. Like, it's a functional game, like, mechanically. Like, it plays, like, sort of like Battlefield. But it's just, like, the story is dumb. The cutscenes were, like, hideously...
I remember those fucking cutscenes, dude.
Everyone, like, I still see people post the picture of like the dude's wife in the cutscene.
Everybody's eyes are dead.
Yeah, like she's just so freakish looking.
She looks like a moving corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
so that's it. It's like it's not the worst FPS I've ever played, by far. Like I've played Rogue Warrior with.
But have you played Haze?
I did play Haze.
You played fucking Haze, dude? Holy shit!
I played Haze.
And unlike Korn, it was not a religion for me.
Fucking Haze. Hell yeah. Dio's,
Again, Haze was not the worst FPS I played last gen either.
that's
Compared
really,
to so I played Legendary the Box. Like that was
Legendary the
Oh,
Box. What the fuck is
Legendary.
that was pretty bad. Yeah, from Spark Unlimited.
Legendary
Oh.
I've never
Which
even fucking heard
again,
of
like,
that.
oh man, it was such a cool concept. It's like
John, you need to look up Legendary.
Yeah, like so the box refers to Pandora's box, and what is it like? They go into a museum and they open up Pandora's box, and like all these like flying griffins come out and they're like destroying the world.
Yeah, like
that's
it's a cool idea. It's
yeah,
like
they
it's like
could have done
mythology
something
stuff.
Good with that. Yeah,
It's fighting mythology stuff in
However,
an
the game
FPS.
was
It could have
just
been
straight
cool,
ass.
but
It was just
it
bad.
wasn't.
I'm gonna look at it right now. What's it called? Legendary the Box.
Legendary the Box.
Also, that name.
Yeah.
Legendary. Oh, okay. So yeah,
I mean, like, why call it
Legendary
the
the Box. Like
Legendary the Box.
so.
Why not just call it Legendary Pandora's Box? I don't know why the box.
So while I'm looking this, Justin, what about you? If you had to pick your least favorite game from your favorite genre, what would it be?
So it's kind of hard for me to pin down a favorite genre. However, I'm going to go with a game from one of my favorite franchises. Is that okay? It's one of my favorite genres.
Please go ahead.
So I don't know if I've ranted about it on the show before, but Metroid Other M.
Oh, that's a good fucking pick.
So like core mechanics like for combat aren't that bad. However, and I'm not even gonna get started on that story that turned Samus into
like a
sad
fucking
baby
shivering
crazy
little
yeah.
like oh my god, what that.
I'm not even gonna get. I'm just gonna keep it limited to why it's bad as a Metroidvania.
It's so
like,
it's not a Metroidvania. It's a linear fucking shooter.
Like literally, they took all the excitement and fun out of getting power-ups. Like it's just somebody telling you you're allowed to use it, and then like late game when that guy gets captured and needs to get saved, Samus is just like, oh, I'm gonna use everything now. Like there's no satisfaction to getting an upgrade. There's no it's so infuriating. Like everything about that game that just like I actually did mildly enjoy the combat, but Jesus Christ, everything else about that game pissed me off so much.
That game, Metroid Prime Other M actually killed the Metroid franchise for how many years? Like that was the last Metroid game we saw for what? Like when did that come out, Justin? Like 2009, 2010? When did Other M actually release?
2010, 2011.
It was like 10. It was like 9 years or something.
It was about 9 years ago.
Yeah, before we saw another Metroid game. I'm sorry. Fucking Federation Force does not count. We're not counting Federation Force. Fuck that. It doesn't count.
See, I didn't play Federation Force. That might have gotten the nod. Have played it, but
I actually did, and it's garbage. It's a really like for the 3DS, it actually looks really good. It's just not a good game.
But like I think the thing that just takes Other M over the top for me is just straight up character assassination of Samus. Like just that horrible progression. There's obviously objectively worse games out there. But that game made me real mad.
I know Derek likes that game.
Yeah,
Wait,
well,
Derek?
I'll fight him.
Wait. Hold on. Is Derek still in chat?
No, I checked he's not, but I'm certain he does.
Derek likes Other M?
I think I've had this conversation.
Derek
with him
is
before.
never fucking allowed to criticize anybody's fucking video game tastes ever again. Ever again. People like if you want to tweet at Derek about his apparent love for Other M, I'm not going to tell you shouldn't, because like how the fuck did I not know this? How did I not know this? Like, Lina, why didn't you fucking warn me about this sooner?
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ. Derek, fuck. Oh, man. That's something else. there's actually a game on Switch I have been dying to play because it looks so bad. I can't remember the name of it. It's got like some super generic name. It's like Dungeon Crawl or like Dungeon Master or no, here it is. Here it is. Oh my god. So everybody in chat and everybody here on the podcast as well, look up right now before we go off the air, look up Crypt of the Serpent King. Look that shit up.
Crypt of the Necrodancer,
Where
which is
did you just
actually an
Google?
amazing
Did you
game.
just Google shit game?
No. I saw this on the Nintendo eShop the other week, and I was like, I have to fucking play this.
Oh, this is like a new release?
No, you have to just watch the trailer. You have to look at the gameplay for Crypt of the Serpent King.
You know,
you're not gonna fucking believe it.
It's got a 43 Metacritic, which is higher than I expected.
Yes.
Like that's like Fallout 70.
It's not-
That's
it's
like
not
Fallout
Tony Hawk's
76
Pro Skater
level.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the fucking game though. Look at the game in action. Tell me. Look at this fucking thing.
I have to say, I love the box art with all my heart. Like,
Justin,
just
Lina, pull up the gameplay.
Just a good skeleton boy hanging out with his snake
he's just
friend.
hanging out with the snakes. Like, look up Render Code Games. That's right, Dio. Look up Lina. Look up the fucking gameplay right
I'm watching the trailer right now, and
I have to fucking play this game. And I don't know if you have the sound up, but it's literally just the same drum beat over and over. It's like boom, boom,
I
boom,
hate
boom,
those.
boom, 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 boom. It's fucking amazing. And I saw this on the eShop, and I watched the trailer like 3 times in a row. I was like, this can't be real. This can't be real. But like Justin, what's that? It's like $2 on the eShop. Like I think it's cheap as fuck. Like it's.
I don't know. I didn't even see the Switch version. I just saw the Xbox One version.
It's on Xbox One too.
Yeah,
these models.
it's on Xbox One and Steam.
Lina, they're literally some of the worst character models I've ever seen in my entire life. Life. Dio says it's $1 on Steam, Justin. It's $1 on Steam.
It's $1.99 on Steam. Yeah.
That's fucking.
Oh, there's a PS4 version of it too. It's on everything, I guess.
Brandon, are you seeing this?
What's it called again?
Crypt. I've got to get Brandon's reaction before we go offline. It's Crypt of the Serpent
Crypt of
King.
the Serpent King.
Brandon, you've got to fucking see this, dude. Like you've got to fucking see this.
Oh, I found Switch gameplay footage. This should be fun.
Oh yeah. Oh no, dude.
No.
Brandon.
Oh no.
This is a real special.
Anybody
listening to this episode that isn't
Why
looking
is
this up is
everything
going to
so
be real.
shiny?
Everything looks like it's a fucking kid's action figure.
Yeah, the ground is. Oh no! It's like there's no color. Everything's gray and.
I think this is all. I think the game is all just default Unity stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it has to be.
Like not even like purchased from like the asset store. Like I think this is just default.
I just love
like,
that Brandon sounded
in Unity
physically
stuff.
pained by what he was seeing.
I mean, within 2 seconds, I'm like, okay,
Like they
Yeah.
didn't buy these models from the
Oh
same
no!
set, I
Like
can tell you
I'm
that.
watching the combat. It's like they made Skyrim's combat look good. Oh no!
Like
no.
there's just there's no feedback. There's no nothing. He's just like I
How much
actually.
the game cost?
It's like dude, it's like $1.
It's like 65 cents too much.
Brandon, how bad you actually want to try it?
How bad do I want to try it?
Yeah,
0%.
I want to play it. I
I'm
might actually
com-
download it tonight and play it.
I'm comfortable.
I might
I've
actually
never even heard of it.
Yeah, so apparently it's $2 on every platform.
I'm gonna download it. I'm gonna
Fuck
start
yeah,
playing
that's what I'm
it.
talking about, Lina.
I'm gonna speed run it.
Lina, I pledge I will download it tonight, and we will have you back on to talk about it.
Lina,
Okay, fine.
Lina, play it on SGDQ in January, and we'll donate.
Okay.
This is Anyway, so we'll go ahead and cut it off here because we are
We
getting
can
a little
wrap
into
it
the
up now.
Yeah,
we'll
end on Crypt of the Serpent King. So don't forget, everybody, PAX is coming up soon. We'll be doing that. Dio says this is art. Jesus, we'll be at PAX here soon. Coming up in about a month. We'll be working the Hope booth for TakeThis.org. So If you are swinging through the Diversity Lounge at PAX West, please come check us out. We'll be doing a bunch of other stuff on the floor as well. And if you see us, hey, say hi. You know, if you're going to be there and you see any of us there running around with our special guest badges, please stop us and say hi. I do hugs. Don't be afraid to come up and hug me.
Oh no,
Brandon, what is it? Brandon, what is it?
Lena. She's downloading Crypt of the Serpent.
She's downloading it right now. Yep. There we go. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Lena's legit. That's what the fuck I'm talking about, Lena.
You owe her $2.
I will literally pay you the $2. I will give you the $2. I will.
You don't have to.
Absolutely.
This is a great example of how responsibly we use our Patreon funds.
I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna fucking download this shit on Switch because I want to be able to take Crypt of the Serpent King wherever I go with me.
I mean,
That's
hey,
the
I
power
have
of the
bad
Switch.
rats on my account.
This game has achievements.
What are the achievements? Fucking
Does that trading cards?
play it
Complete
for an hour without getting diarrhea.
Complete levels 1 through 7 on easy, normal, and hard. Those are all the achievements.
Those are the achievements.
Yeah.
I'm glad they put so much fucking thought into the goddamn achievements. Oh my god. I'm gonna play this shit tonight. I'm not fucking kidding you. I'm gonna play this shit. Dio says it actually has cards on stream or on Steam. It has cards. Okay, all right, we're gonna wrap it up here. Don't forget, we'll be at PAX West, working with TakeThis.org. So please swing by TakeThis.org. Support us. We are doing some really good work, trying to break the stigma of mental illness, not just in the gaming community, but in society at large. So we would really appreciate that. Hey, we will be back next week on Thursday, as always, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Twitch. So until then, it's not always poetry, and we don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next time, thank you so much for stopping by, and take care of each other. See you later.
Bye.